Sponsored by.
Ever since Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau arrived in Washington, D.C. earlier this week, he has been under intense scrutiny for his government's failure to meet the NATO target of spending 2% of its GDP on defense. As a result of this, NATO allies and US senators have called on Trudeau to increase defense spending, with US House Speaker Mike Johnson accusing Canada of riding on America's coattails.
Canada announced in the last few days or last couple of days that they won't be ponying up. They're not going to do their 2%. Why? Well, talk about riding on America's coattails. They have the safety and security of being on our border and not having to worry about that. I think that's shameful. I think if you're going to be a member nation and participant, you need to do your part.
Under such immense pressure, PM Trudeau committed in the closing hours of the NATO summit in Washington to raise Canada's defense spending to 2% of GDP by 2032.
Continually step up and punch above our weight, something that isn't always reflected in the crass mathematical calculation that certain people turn to very quickly, which is why we've always questioned the 2% as the be-all and end-all of evaluating contributions to NATO.
Ottawa has been under pressure from Washington to increase its military spending, with several US senators writing to Trudeau in May to further increase defense spending. Similarly, while indirectly taking a dig at Canada, NATO's outgoing Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg had last month said that more than 20 of the 32 NATO members are about to meet the alliance's target defense spending in 2024, highlighting how allies have raised military spending. While PM Trudeau has promised to boost the spending on military by 2032, he dismissed the benchmark as being a crass mathematical calculation and failed to lay out a plan on how Canada would reach it. Criticizing the decade-old 2% benchmark, Trudeau argued that though there are several ways through which Canada could attain the spending target, like militarizing the Coast Guard, however, such tactics would not make Canada a safer place to be. However, the announcement quickly drew criticism from home, with the main opposition Conservative Party outlining that Trudeau was not serious about his claims, and it was just an attempt to save himself from facing the wrath of the US. Conservative Party's defense critic, James Bazin, said in a statement that had Trudeau's plan been serious, he would have included it in defense policy plan that was updated just 3 months ago. Canada's economic struggles are significantly hindering its ability to achieve its goals. The country is plagued by high property prices, job shortages, and a surge in crime, making life difficult for its residents. The unemployment rate, influenced by temporary residents and recent immigrants, reached 11% in June. Canada is also facing a housing affordability crisis, with inflation and 22-year high interest rates pushing mortgage costs up. The rise in crime, particularly home invasions and car thefts, has led to a 400% increase, as reported by the Toronto Police Service. The situation is so dire that a Toronto police officer even recommended leaving car keys by the front door to avoid violent home invasions, suggesting it is safer to let thieves take the car instead. As one of the NATO's founding countries, Canada ranks 7th in defense spending among the 32 members, but falls short of NATO's spending target. Canada, spending 1.34% of its GDP on its military, is only ahead of Slovenia, Turkey, Spain, Belgium, and Luxembourg in the alliance. On the other hand, the UK spends slightly more than 2% of its GDP on defense, and the US allocates nearly 3.5%.